made your lists. You are ready to get going. You're ready to get in the gym. You're ready to clean the house. You're ready to do meal planning. You get it all prepared in your head, maybe even write it down on lists. You're ready to go, and then you're not. You procrastinate. You go, oh my God, I have to do this. But I don't really want to do it right now. I mean, I do, but I don't. You're just constantly in procrastination mode. You're feeling overwhelmed by everything that you quote unquote need to do, and everything seems to be time sensitive. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to episode 76 of the Positivity Experience. Why do we procrastinate, and how can we stop doing that? Check it out. Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 76 of the Positivity Experience. It's your girl Lori, and we are going to talk about procrastination. But before we jump into that, I want to give a massive shout out to our newest Patreon members. At our gratitude level, we have Carrie LL and Tammy Horowitz. And over at our abundance level, you might recognize this name, Brooke Selby. She is my other moderator on my TikTok. Rachel Ojeda, Misty Monaghan, Karen Sipple. And I am so sorry if I jacked y'all's names up. I'm a professional name jacker-upper. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to that. And if you guys are wondering what Patreon is, it is the paid version of like a toolbox. It is called the Positivity Experience Toolbox. So it takes the things that we talk about here on this podcast, and we go a little bit more in detail, and it gives you a little bit more of a step-by-step instructional guide. So if you want to check that out, you can do so in the links right here in this description show notes, or you can find it on any of my socials on my link tree. So with that being said, I want to jump into this topic. Oh my God, this is the best topic on the planet for me. And I'll tell you why. Because quite honestly, if you ever decided to look up the definition of like procrastination in the dictionary, there would be a picture of me with a bottle of wine going, yeah, baby, this is me, right? So I've been a massive procrastinator, pretty much a professional one, pretty much all my life. And I've started really, I would say over the last couple of years, really starting to streamline down and realizing what works and what doesn't work for me. And, I'm actually working on a different program, right? That you can like buy that's going to give like step-by-step and, kind of those things that you can buy. And it's like you can keep it in your little arsenal. But I have been really practicing a lot of different techniques that have been super effective. And, right now my house still looks like I have 800,000 things to do in it, because I do. But I'm not in a hurry to do it, because if I was in a hurry to do it, then I would definitely get overwhelmed. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because I feel like pretty much everybody that I know and everybody that I've talked to, it says, we have these good intentions. We get that inspiration burst and we go, yes. Pinterest is known for this, watching Home Edit or watching Marie Kondo, or even if you're watching TikToks or YouTubes and you see people how they're folding things and decluttering. And if you watch the minimalists on Netflix, they will make you want to declutter. And you have all these best intentions. You've decided that not only do you want to declutter, but you also want to start a new diet. You want to eat better. You're ready to get in the gym. You want to do organization. You want to minimalize your house. My God, that's exhausting. And that's just a few things, right? But you have the best intentions. And a lot of times, if you're like me, I'm a professional planner buyer for a reason, but you go out, you buy the planners, you go out, you buy the things, you even go to the grocery store, you even buy the little things. If you were going to watch your portion size, you go on Amazon, you buy those little things, you download apps, you're ready to go, you're ready to get it started. And you might even do good for the first couple of days, maybe even the first couple of weeks. And then you're not. And that is because you're not lazy. And I need you to hear that, because I think that's the first methodology that's really super bad for the procrastinator, is to automatically go, oh my God, I'm so lazy. Now listen, we've all been there where you're like, oh, the weather's raining. I'm just feeling so lazy. That's okay. That's fine. But don't misconstrue procrastination from laziness. Now, realistically, think about this. Now I'm going to get a little nerdy here, but hey, it's my specialty and it's what I studied, and that's human studies, right? And so like when we humans in general, we like pretty much instant gratification, right? You want to see instant results. You want to go to the gym one time and be like, bam, I'm ready for the beach. You want to eat healthy one day or 1 week and be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing great. I mean, the reality is that is what you want. Everybody wants the end product, and they don't always like the methodology and the systems put in place and the patience to get there. If you're impatient, you will be a chronic procrastinator. If you need everything right now, you will be a chronic procrastinator. I mean, and that's just how it is, because your brain is going, okay, well, come on now. We're not, I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm ready for this. And remember this, procrastination is nothing more than an avoidance tactic. Let's not make this deeper than it is. Let's not say you're lazy. Let's not say you're avoiding something. You're avoiding the overwhelm of the boxes in the corner. You're avoiding the overwhelm of having to declutter your closet. You're avoiding the overwhelm of writing that book. You're avoiding the overwhelm of, anything, because it's not fun. See, inherently in your brain says, well, if I said to you, hey, need you to be at the airport, if assuming that you like traveling, like me, like if I said, hey, I'm giving you a free trip. I need you to be at the airport at 3. So make sure that you get your things packed and everything. Okay. You might be a hell of a lot more inspired to get it going and get there on time. But that's a one-time thing. See, it's not that your lists and your plans are wrong. They're just not complete, right? They're just not complete. You don't have a system. Without a system or a method to something that you do, you can't be consistent in that. I say this to my clients all the time. All of them. They go, oh yeah, I journaled for a good week and, I'm just kind of falling off a little bit. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with you, yell at you, or make you feel bad. It's just know that your consistency is what's going to bring you success. All right. So here's the thing. And this is why you go balls to the wall, gung ho, and then you just fall back, because you're going so hardcore with these big plans, and you did the lists and you bought the things and you did all of that, but you're not doing the micro goals. And if you want to go back to episode 37 on this podcast, I have a whole 30-minute or so episode on microgoaling. Microgoaling has been the thing that has really been effective to me, along with the Pomodoro effect. And we're going to talk about that over on Patreon. I'm going to give you a really in detail breakdown on how you can make this as successful as you possibly can, as long as you're following it, right? And see, that's the thing. How many times, right? This is something to ask yourself this question. How many times have you really, you might have even spent hours, if not a whole weekend. You got the vision boards, you got the planners, you did all of these things. And you are really dedicated to doing it. And you have color blocked it, and you have time blocked it, and you've done all these things, but you didn't really have a plan. You just know what you wanted the end goal to be. Well, that's why you get up on Monday or on Monday the following week and think, oh my God, this is just too much. There's too much guessing work going on in your head. See, unless you're really willing to be structured in your method and in your system, you can't succeed, because your brain won't allow that. There's too much thinking. Listen, there's always going to be things that are going to pop up, right? You can't plan your entire life. That's ridiculous, because things are going to come up. Things are going to surface. You can't control that. But that's okay. We build in wiggle room. So the first thing that you want to do, right, is, let's say you're like, I feel like I want to eat better. Okay. Well, instead of just going on YouTube and TikTok and all of these other places and finding recipes, which are great, I do that myself. First, do the research. Don't do the research. Listen, you use Google for all that other stuff. When you start in with the health anxiety, you have no problem Googling for 643 days. So let's do this and use Google and other, different platforms for what they're really what the good side of them are. And that's to research. Don't just look at the first thing and think that your instant goal is going to be weight loss. Okay. So in my world, and I'll do a podcast on this too. In my world, I carry no expectations with anything or anyone. Right? So if I'm going to sit in meditation, I'm not going to do so with the expectation that I'm going to feel better. I'm going to sit in meditation with understanding that this is time for myself. If I'm going to go for a walk or a run or a Peloton, I'm not doing so with the idea, right, that I'm going to go get in shape right away. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing it because in that moment, I know right after I'm done, I'm going to feel a lot better. In that moment, not I'm going to go do this so I can lose 24 pounds. And that's the big thing for you, is you're getting too attached. This is number one reason why you fail. Well, not number one of the many reasons as to why you fail. You're solely focused on the end goal. The end goal is what you put down on your paper, yes. But then you have to back end it. You have to come down. You have to streamline down to tomorrow, right? So let's say you said, I'll just use weight because it just came into my head. Let's say you're like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, let's not get crazy and be like, okay, I know it's healthy to just lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I'm sticking to my 1,200 calories, and I'm going to cut the carbs out, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's still action oriented with this ridiculous goal that's just there. It can be a beautiful goal if you're not putting so much pressure to achieve it. The moment you put all this pressure, like I got to lose 20 pounds or I got to go get the entire house clean this weekend, that's a problem, right? So instead of saying, I'm going to go clean the house, that's ridiculous. You're going to burn yourself out even if you do, because you don't have a system. You could do that all day long. But what's going to happen is, oh, it's going to be clean. You're going to feel great. It's going to feel amazing. But you're so burned out and you have no system. Your things don't have places. Now you start seeing all the clutter come back, because you don't have a routine. Without a routine and a system, even if you get inspired, and notice I'm not using the word motivation because motivation is a lie. It's not a real thing. So I use inspired. And so when you are inspired, right, this is the up and down effect, right? This is like the roller coaster effect. You're gold, you're everything until you're not. Because if you can get something clean, but if you don't have a system to maintain it, it's kind of like my morning ritual, right? Get up before I even get out of bed, stretch, deep breath. I do my mantra. I am capable of handling anything that the day sends my way, and I only ever have today. I do all of that. I get out. I go in the back. Like I have a routine with what I do every single morning. So I go on autopilot. See, the goal is to get you to the place where you go on autopilot. What has happened is the wishy-washy, the inconsistency, all of that has now become that autopilot. So you have to redirect it. And if you think it's going to happen overnight, it's not. 28 days makes a habit. 128 days makes it a way of life. That's right. 120. 4 months makes it a way of life. This is not being inconsistent. No one cares how you feel if you feel like doing it, because you'll feel more inclined to do it when these big old hurdles of yours and big goals that you're trying to do doesn't look so overwhelming. So there's a few ways to do that. So like I said, step one, we're going to break it down. So let's say you said whatever it is, whatever your goal is, one goal at a time. Every goal has to have these steps. This is what creates a system. So you're going to research whatever it is. If it's decluttering or organizing, you don't just run out to the container store and buy containers. What do you have it mapped out? Do you know what rooms you're going to declutter on paper? Did you maybe even do a diagram? Where do you want to start? Okay, don't be just like, oh, well, the Goodwill's coming through the neighborhood tomorrow. Let me go through my stuff. You can do that if you're just going to do a quick bag. But to get fully intent, you better research it. Not just like what kind of containers do you need? Yes. But you also want to take measurements. What kind of system do you want? There's 100 different systems out there. What works for you? Don't go ahead of the game. If you're not willing to do the baby steps, you will never get the outcome sustainably that you're seeking. You must do it in a system, because your plans aren't failing. It's your systems that aren't in play. And if they're there, maybe we need to revisit those systems. Now, once you get finished with that research, decide what you're going to do first. So let's say it's decluttering, okay? And you want to declutter your whole house. You want to go minimalist because you watch the minimalism and you're feeling inspired to just be minimalist. Great. But the reality is, what's your plan? Okay, you've researched it. You understand what the concept is. So now what is the topic? Is it going to be, I'm going to declutter my bedroom? Okay. And guess what? That's still too big. I'm going to declutter my, the dresser. Okay. That still might be too big. I'm going to declutter this drawer. Okay. Ultimately, you're still on your way to minimalism or whatever it is in this goal that we're talking about. But you're so busy worrying about getting there and getting there quickly that you're not willing to do the detail-oriented baby steps that you need. And they must be detail-oriented. And then you must have a system, which we'll talk about in a minute, once you get all of these things into play. because you're not lazy. You're overwhelmed, but you're overwhelmed by your own hands. You're overwhelmed because you have these unattainable goals. You have this idea that you got to cram everything into 2 days because the 5 days you're working the rest of the week. And now, no, we're not doing that. Now, once you've decided, okay, let's say in this case, we said bedroom. So overall, think of this on your hierarchy page of like, okay, declutter the whole house or minimalize the house. Great. So underneath that, it's kind of like a subset, right? Underneath that, you're going to do the research. What do you need? What do you want? Drawer dividers? Do you want drawer little, like the little, those little foldable things that go in the drawers? Do you want the little containers for the drawers? What do you want? Take your time. Don't just go on the Pinterest board for 2 seconds and be like, this one. Take your time. Figure out what you think will be working best for you. Just because you watch something on Home Edit doesn't mean that it's going to work in your space. So just don't automatically grab a hold of somebody else's system. That is not going to work for you long term if it's not going to work for you in general, right? So you'll do it and it'll look pretty, but it's not going to be effective. So you also want to think about efficiency. And that's why you need an outline. So now you want to create a detailed outline. Okay? And here's the other side of it. Detailed deadlines. Detailed deadlines. So if you know damn well that you are so busy during the week and you happen to glance at the weather and it's going to be a rainy weekend and you've decided this is the weekend I'm going to clean out my entire house. Unrealistic, unattainable, and you have no system for how to maintain it afterwards. So you do an outline. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give you an example of that. Okay, so we're onto the minimalist house. We are in the bedroom. Now we got to break that down. The outline. Okay, so first thing is research. You've already done that. You decided minimalism. Great. Now we're going to do an outline. So not only are we going to put the bedroom in there, we're going to put down dresser. And maybe you look at the dresser and think, oh my God, my dresser looks like a bomb went off inside of it. Looking at it makes me overwhelmed. Great. Then that one drawer is your one drawer. You take everything out, you wipe it down. If you're putting in a new system, if you're folding different, whatever you're doing, you concentrate on that one single drawer. And you do that by creating an outline. So maybe you look and you go, wow, this is overwhelming looking at my dresser. And you say, okay, you know what? I can probably break this down into like 2 different days. I can probably get through half now and half tomorrow. Great. Put an outline together. So what are you going to do with it? And how are you going to, while you're in that outline, think, you don't have to implement this yet. How do you want to maintain that one drawer? Then how do you want to maintain 2 drawers? How do you want to maintain the dresser? How do you want to maintain the living room? You know what I mean? So, but you have to put schedules in there on pen to pad. Stop with the laziness, right? In your head, stop with the laziness. That part is the laziness because it takes you nothing to get a pen and pad. That's not procrastination. That's not wanting to put the effort from pen to pad. That's the difference between laziness and procrastination. And we've all been there. That's why I have several sets of journals throughout my house because I'm lazy at night and I'm not going to get up from my bed that's super comfortable and go downstairs and grab my journal. I know I'm not going to do that. So what do? I make it to where it's going to be effective. So I get several sets of them. I keep one set by my bed, including gratitude, including data dump. Like it's seriously a set, 5, 5, 5. I told you I look like I'm married to the guy from Staples. Some I'll even carry in the car, especially if I'm going on vacation or something like that. So that's the thing. You must draft what that outline is. Okay. So now that you have that, you have to do the task because this is the part that usually can get you. You can plan all damn day. You're a professional planner. But when it comes to the task, if you have a task of I'm going to minimize the whole house, or sometimes even I'm going to minimize the bedroom, it's going to feel crippling to you at times. But if you say I'm going to do this one drawer, you ain't got to do anything else. Do that one drawer. And again, you take everything out. Don't just piecemeal it. You take everything out of the drawer. But again, it's patience, it's consistency, and it's establishing a routine. Right? So as you start to establish a routine, that will come, right? That will come. Your consistency will come. 28 straight days of consistency starts to form a habit. And 120 days now makes it like autopilot. Now we're on autopilot. We're doing it almost without even thinking about it. Think of that as like brushing your teeth, flushing the toilet, turning on a light, kind of an automatic response that you don't even think about twice, right? So now let's talk about those lists. When you're doing your lists, they must be attainable goals. Just because we see something on Instagram or we see something on Pinterest and we look at their perfect, beautiful home that looks gorgeous, you can't just say, oh, that's my style. I want that. Yeah, that could be your style. What's it going to take to get into it? How much are those things costing? What's an idea? Can you get it less expensive? What stores? What kind of hardware do you want? Do you want silver? Do you want gold? If you're not going to do the fine details, you will never do the full project. It's easy to walk into the bedroom when it's all clean and whistled and, everything is great. Yeah. But if that's what you're goaling for, you're never going to do it. So when you're making your list, they must be action and detail oriented. You don't just put down one or two things, and you have to give yourself deadlines. You have to do it. So let's say you're like, okay, I want to do this by July 1st. Well, you better have more than just your bedroom on there. You better have the drawer. Are you getting new hardware for the drawer? Do you want to do something? That's what I'm saying. Sit with it. This helps you so much because it doesn't seem so overwhelming. It doesn't matter all of the stuff that you have to do. Stop focusing there. That's why the lists are important. It also helps you identify your priorities. Maybe your bedroom's not the priority. Maybe cleaning your office desk should be the priority, but you'd rather clean the bedroom because it's the easier one because the work one makes you feel stressed. But here is a secret. If you are constantly sitting in a space of trying to do the easy stuff first, it's going to be really difficult for you to maintain the things that are hard. See, the key and where the success comes from is to do the things you don't like first. That's right. If you don't like vacuuming, vacuum first. If you don't like cooking, cook first. Get up in the morning and cook if you have to. If you don't like to work out, do it in the morning. Get up earlier. If you can't, then fine, do it at night. But you have to do the things that you don't want to do first. Because your brain, and see, here's the thing, on that little task list of yours, put something easy down there. Literally, I'll put brush my teeth. You know why? Because I can go on my list with a pen and scratch it off or check it off. Boom, boom. My brain goes, look at you being productive this morning. Sometimes I make my bed, sometimes I don't. But if you're a bed maker, boom, put that down on your list. Guess what? You've already succeeded for the day. Your brain works on those instant gratification rewards. It's going to be super helpful for you. Now, here's another thing. Your environment plays a part on it. So you already know the rule about the bed. Before I go to bed, an hour before I go to bed, I am off all social medias. I might have the TV on, but it's kind of background noise. I might be crocheting. I might be reading. I'm not doing work and I'm not scrolling. I'm not doing those things. So if you want to establish a good routine, right? Every night. And mine is get off, I usually take my edible, and then get off of all of your socials or anything that's stimulating to you. Maybe even TV. It's kind of okay. Like I said, for me, it's background noise. I don't really pay much attention to it. But a good hour before bed. And then, of course, if you can't sleep after 20 minutes, you get up and you go and you journal and you just go to bed when you're tired. Don't force yourself to go to bed because now you're creating a really unhealthy relationship with the bedroom and the bed because now you associate the bed with stressful sleeping. That's why you don't just get in bed and try to sleep. You don't ever do those things. So your environment plays a big part. Haven't you ever seen people in big cities or even in your local town? You're like, oh, look at them. They got their little laptop. They're at Starbucks. They're chilling. It's a change of environment because they know that they're not going to be super distracted by, a coworker or the dogs or whatever. They are simply there to change their environment. So even if you have to go sit outside and do your journaling or sit outside and do your task list, whatever you have to do, you might want to change your environment. Okay. Now, of course, you can also, barring me not doing editing, I'll listen to music or I'll listen to a podcast or I'll listen to something as well while I'm doing it. It's really good because it gives you a little bit of a habit stacking, right? So I like to sometimes listen to audiobooks and then, do my work and I feel like I'm really getting things done, and here's the thing. Time blocking is your best friend. And I do that in combination with color blocking. So what that is, and if you want it, I might even do it on YouTube for you or whatever. But what color blocking and time blocking is so now you've got this detail-oriented guide. You have this attainable action item. So now you have to put it in your schedule. And I mean put it in your schedule. So even though I work from home, I see clients all day long, or I'm doing some, this, or I'm doing, editing, or I'm doing something in my book. So I have to make sure that I build in time for the lunch. Sometimes I will eat lunch while I'm talking to somebody, but for the most part, I'll try to build in a spot. In there, it will say lunch in yellow, right? So I like to do color blocking, and I also like to have a paper calendar, like a big planner calendar, as well as my computer calendar, because I like to see it on the paper calendar, and then I can put it over onto the computer, and that's real easy because you can just highlight whatever color. But if you can't just go, I'm going to clean the house today. Okay, how? What time? Just when I get up. No. If you say I'm going to clean the house or I'm going to organize when you get up, that's not detailed. I'm going to get up at 8. I'm going to give myself some coffee time. I might go for a walk. By 10 o'clock, I'm starting. Like you have to put this in. And if you already say, oh my God, that's a lot of work, then you're going to stay a procrastinator. If you're procrastinating doing the planning phase and really executing it, you will remain a procrastinator because it's overwhelming to you. Again, you're not lazy. You're only lazy if you don't want to go downstairs and get the journal like me. So that's why I have an extra set. And so this is an important factor because when you switch it up, see, you think that just making a list or having intention is good enough. Absolutely not. And here's the other key. When you're working, no distractions. Reduce them as best as you can. No email, no social media. What this does is it takes the guesswork out of what you need to do. Part of you being overwhelmed, if you say, let's use working out. Oh, Monday, I'm going to start back at the gym. Great. So the night before, do you have your gym clothes laid out? Do you have what workout routine you're going to do? Well, I'm just going to go to the gym and wing it. No. Are you doing back and bis? You doing chest and tries? You doing legs? What you doing? What machines are you doing? You doing free weights? Write it down. That's right. To stop procrastinating and to have that organization that you seek, you must put in this work. If you are not willing to put in the work, then you're not willing to maintain these consistencies. And what this does is it creates a system for you. Because now everything that you do, your meal planning becomes easier. Don't just grab a pen and pad and go like, what do I want to eat for next week? Do some research. What are some good vegetables that are in season? Or good fruits that are in season? Do you want to make a dessert? What kind of dessert would you like? What are you thinking? Do you want it to be natural? Do you want it to have sugar in it? Like details. This goes for every area of your life. So your procrastination, I want you to get out of the mindset as something's wrong with you, or that, you're lazy, or that you should have done this, or like, oh, I wanted to do this. Instead, I sat on social media for 3 hours today. Listen, I tell you, this is the best part. This is the best part. Now you build in your rewards. Now it's reward time. So for me, I reward myself with crochet. I crochet. I'll reward myself with television, a little bit of TV. I'll reward myself with going for a walk. I'll reward myself with something, maybe some wine, maybe who knows. But I will reward myself. But it's kind of like what I do in the morning. Before, like when I get up, grabbing my phone is not part of that plan. You don't grab your phone and start scrolling in bed. Maybe on a Sunday or whatever, like if you don't have to work, every now and again, but even then you don't want to get in that habit. See, here's the thing with a habit. If you half-ass a habit, you're going to have half-ass habits in your life with everything that you do. So you don't want to, I do touch my phone in the morning to turn off the alarm. That is something that I do. But other than that, I'm not going to check my socials. If you emailed me, messaged me, I'll get back to you once I've either, like school's almost out here for the summer, but if I've taken Sienna to school, if I'm waiting for her, I might respond, or I might film a TikTok or something. But it's like, other than that, I'm not doing that first thing in the morning. And that's my time because that's my ritual. If I mess up my ritual, it's nobody else's responsibility but my own. So what you want to do is you want to not just think of your tasks and the things you have to do, like taxes, right? Because that's super not fun for anybody, especially when you have your own business. So to sit there, luckily I have an accountant because I know I would just, good God, I'd be all kinds of messed up. But that doesn't mean that they're not asking me for things. Well, what was this purchase? What was this? What's this write-off? What do you need from here? I know that that's not something that I enjoy, and I know that it gives me a certain level of stress. So I build that, let's say, and I purposefully won't check email but a certain time of the day or a few times a day. And I will look at that and go, okay, I know I don't want to do this, so I'm going to put that first. I'm going to put that at my 9 o'clock hour while I'm drinking my coffee. before my clients, I'm going to bang this out. Not because I want to, quite the opposite, but I know I'm going to, and then I'll put action items. So even though the email might say, hey, these are the things I need, I will handwrite it on a paper and go, okay, send her this, send them that, send them this, and I'll put where I can find it and action items. Yep. If that seems extra to you, that's why you're procrastinating. Because you're not willing to actually do the legwork because it seems so hard and uncomfortable. But once you start that process, it becomes a habit, right? Because your brain will go on autopilot. Right now, you have to be conscious. You have to get up and be like, okay, gotta do this at 8. And even like lunch is pretty automatic. I still put that into my schedule because, and we're going to talk about it over on Patreon with the Pomodoro effect and why that's effective. But I use that, right? So like, obviously my clients schedule themselves because if you book a session with me, you're booking online. So it automatically populates my calendar. So all I have to do is fill in the holes where there aren't clients or where there's not something that's on my schedule. And then I can take my task list, my attainable task list, and plunk them in certain holes once I know how long I think it'll take and what's the detail to it. And then I can color code it. But you have to stick to it. You could do all that till the cows come home. But what you don't realize is how much easier this helps your anxiety, your depression, your overall stress, your feelings of overwhelm. If you go to bed in your bedroom, like mine is right now, because I'm in the middle of doing exactly what I just said, the dresser, and I started it 2 days ago. No, it is not done because it's not on my schedule to do it today. It'll get done on the next scheduled date, which is tomorrow. So it doesn't even have to be successful. As far as succession, like one after the other, it could be a couple days apart. Because if you go to bed and you know that everything around you is crazy, it's going to become a little bit more problematic and a little harder for you to maintain. So that is your homework, right? Is to sit down. I want you to detail it out, research it, right? Your steps. Let's recap those steps. Research what you need to do, not just what you want to do, not just the end goal. How many steps is that going to take? Now you're going to break those steps down into action, detail-oriented items. That's what you're going to do. And then you're going to decide, okay, how much do you want to do in that day? What's the topic of that day? Breaking it down. Then you're going to do the task. And you're going to make this a consistent practice for yourself. So you deserve that. You do realize that when you hold yourself accountable and when you give yourself the tools that you no longer have to think, where's my gym clothes? What do I need to make for dinner tonight? How many of you out there have that stress? Oh God, I got to cook dinner. What am I making? I guess I'll pull something out the fridge. Okay, well, that's going to stress you. You're going to feel overwhelmed. So last thing you're going to want to do is now go clean the dresser. So you want to work smarter, not harder, and you want to give yourself that power to do that. This is a gift you give yourself. You know how you want to be in control of everything? This you're in control of. So remember, you're not lazy. You're not lazy in your procrastination at all. You just lack system. You lack the method. So now there's that. That's it. You can do this. Spend time. Even if right now it might be researching how you want to do your task list. Great. Gotta be your first step. Research. When you do that, you will find small successes. Every small success equals the final goal. You don't look at the pyramids and go, wow, look at that top stone. Without all of the other bricks and everything in between, that top stone's irrelevant. So don't poo-poo on these little details. If you're not good with little details, you will always feel overwhelmed. So it's not for other people to get on board with it. It's not for any of that. This is for you. That is your homework. So I'll check you out over at Patreon and we'll go deeper into the Pomodoro effect. Have an amazing week. Check it out.